Do you remember a time when you couldn't wait for your monthly subscription to Carcraft, Hot Rod, or Popular Hot Rodding, Sport Truck, whatever it is, would arrive in the mail so you could watch that budget build that they were going to build, that they had promised you on the cover it was low buck, only to find out that they were talking about bare brakes, crate motors, and transmissions and such that were way beyond my budget. In fact, the engine alone is beyond my total build budget. Well, I've gotten kind of tired of looking at those kind of projects in the magazines and decided I would like to go back to the 70s, 80s, and even 90s in the magazines I used to get and the projects that they would build, and they were a lot less expensive, and they could be 2 or 3 issues, could be a year, but at least they were putting together something that was more budget friendly and something I could relate to. Well, I decided what I would do myself is take on that project. Now, I've been deciding what kind of truck will it be. I prefer a truck. I like the 88 to 98s, the OBS body style. Considered a 3/4 ton standard cab log bed. I thought, well, it's great for a heavy duty truck, but gas mileage is going to be terrible. I considered a Tahoe, maybe a turbo street truck, a budget muscle truck. What I really decided I needed was a basic shop truck. Doesn't matter to me whether it's a short bed or long bed, standard cab, engine transmission doesn't matter. We're going to replace it all and do an LS swap. We're going to lower it a little bit, rebuild all the suspension, the brakes, the steering, and make it nice. But we're not going to start with a rusted out Hulk. That will take tons of money just to get the paint right, just to get the interior up to grade. So let's look at one that'll be, I call it the best truck I can afford for my budget to start with, which isn't a lot. I want to keep that initial purchase price less than $4,000. And to some people that may be beyond their budget right there, but that's okay. If you start with a less expensive truck, that's okay. All the mods I'm talking about doing are applicable to a $500 truck or a $5,000 truck, it doesn't matter. So to begin with that, we are going to look at our source for an engine and transmission. If you caught up with some of the information, it's the Garage Cat. If you caught up with some of the other videos, you'll notice that we swapped an LS motor, a 5.3 into this 95 truck. And it's kind of a little bit shop truck, a little bit muscle truck, a little bit driver. Right now it sits in the garage quite a bit just because of the weather that we're having out here in the Texas area. But I want to build something that is basically going to be stock. The engine is. I'm not going to make a hot rod out of it. It's not a race truck. It's going to be something that, if you're following along, be something that you can afford to do. I want to swap in a 5.3 with an automatic. Again, lower the suspension, maybe not a lot because it still has to function as a truck. I like to use a donor vehicle for the engine and transmission rather than trying to piecemeal a $200 engine from the salvage yard, getting a transmission and getting nickel and dime to death with all the little parts it takes to put one of these together and make it run right. I wanted to go the route of choosing a donor vehicle that already runs and drives, so that way I've got the engine, the transmission, wiring harness, computer, hoses, AC compressor, all the little nuts and bolts and things that will nickel and dime you to death. A lot of that is on a donor vehicle. So you must be asking, what donor vehicle? Got one right over there. Let's go look at it. Okay, this is it. This is a vehicle I picked up at a public auction here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's a 2004 Chevy Tahoe. It's got the flex fuel 5.3. Looks pretty good from this angle. Got a little damage there on the lower edge of the bumper. And coming around to the passenger side, again, it's pretty clean. The reason I picked it up at auction is it was in a minor accident. You can see from the back end here that frame rail got hit And what totaled it was above the passenger door right there. You can see the gap. It kinked the body just a bit. And when it kinked the body, it totaled it. But the truck runs and drives great. Take a look at the inside. Okay, it's got the cloth interior. Let me climb in here. I've got some stuff in the back here, so just kind of forget about that. It didn't come with the truck. I've just used it for storage because I've owned this truck now for, gosh, about a year. Start it up. Okay. Wants me to change the oil. It's got about 143,000 miles on it. And the only issue I can see is it has that service airbag, which I could care less about. But again, it's a clean interior. Let's pop the hood. Hard to do with one hand. And there's my 5.3. I almost hate to do this to this truck, but let's face it, it is totaled, and it's going to help other vehicles to live a long, happy life. Okay, one thing I failed to mention, and I'll let you in on that now, is how much did this Tahoe cost me? The price of the truck with the auction fees and a record to tow it to the shop, and I had to replace the battery. All that, I'm in it for $1,000. They have major auctions here constantly online and in the Dallas Metroplex, and you can find trucks like this ranging from $500 to $1,200 depending on condition and mileage, and so there we go. I'm starting off with $1,000. That's why I want to get what I need out of it, and I can sell off the parts and try to recoup as much of that as possible before I get to a rolling hulk that doesn't roll. If I sell the rear axle out of it, suddenly I can't move it. So I want to sell off the good stuff, the seats, the transmission console, storage console, any bits and pieces, body parts, whatever somebody wants, get my money back as quick as I can and move it out. That's what I did with the blue truck. I sold off enough of the parts to where I had, between the engine, transmission, wiring harness, computer, and a bunch of other tidbits, I had in that about $125. It's a little hassle having to sell the parts, but it sure beats making 50 trips to the salvage yard and off Craigslist trying to find everything I need to make it all work and hope it does. This way I know it works before I ever start. So that's my plan. We're going to use this 2004 Tahoe as the donor vehicle. We're going to pull the engine, transmission, wiring harness, computer, anything else I can think of that I'd like to pull out of it and use. Actually, there are some extra bits I'm going to take out, and I'll surprise you with what I'm going to do with them and how I'm going to use them. Anyway, now you're asking, well, where's the recipient, the shop truck? I'm looking for the shop truck. Right now I'm a little cramped on space, so my plan is once I strip down the Tahoe, get what I need out of it, I'm going to sell off parts of it to recoup my investment. And once I do that and free up this spot, that's where the new truck's going to go. So I hope you're interested, hope you'll follow along, and I'll try to provide as much detail as I can. Expenses, I would really like to keep the total project, including the price of the truck, within $6,000. Now that includes the price of the truck. I'm hoping I can get the truck for less. But if you already have a truck, then I'm hoping that you can duplicate what I'm going to do no more than $2,000, $2,500. And I'm talking about suspension, brakes, steering, tires and wheels, the engine swap, everything, driving down the road. And I want this thing to be dead nuts reliable because it is going to be a driver. It's going to sit outside, it's going to be driven, and I also want to get as good a gas mileage as I can get out of it. That's why it's going to stay stock. I'm not modifying it at all. Stock exhaust manifolds, cam, as tempting as it is to swap it out, I'm leaving the cam in place. The air duct, air intake, I would like it to look under the hood of an 88 to 98 truck the way it looks under the hood of this Tahoe, and be stock. And that way it'll have reliability and as good a gas mileage as it can get. And we'll have fun doing it, and we'll have fun driving it too, because I'm going to use it every day. So anyway, I hope you'll follow along. Thanks for your time. See you next time.